Hello fellow daydreamers, I am ready. I packed all my bags, I have my hand luggage with me, and I'm wearing my travel outfit, and I'm going to London now for the second time in my life. It has been almost 10 years, so I'm very excited, and I can't wait to meet my friend at the train station and we travel to the airport together, and I'll keep you posted. See ya!
This is the fit for the airplane, simple yet comfy with the colors that I saw represented in the city. I always wear my bulkiest clothes if I only travel with hand luggage. Traveling to London actually was a breeze. We were surprisingly flying from bad Swiss weather to pretty great English weather conditions. I got a window seat, so I was able to film a bit. For example, the English Channel between France and Great Britain. As we landed at London Heathrow, we had to take an extensive tube ride into the city, although a lot of the suburban area we were able to drive overground. Starving from our trip in the morning, we helped ourselves to a bit of Burger King, defending the food against very curious squirrels. We were sat in Argyle Square, just 3 minutes from King's Cross. That's also where our hotel was located. We got just a small bed and bathroom on the ground floor. Not really any views to be had. But since we only sleep and get changed here, we did only care for the low water pressure that messed with our hair washing schedule. I got into a fresh shirt to feel better and off we went. My travel friend and I met up with yet another friend of ours to spend these days in London. As always, when I would visit a big city, our first stop is a park. This time it was Green Park, where we got some sodas and got to catching up. My choice was this appetizer, which is 100% sparkling apple juice. After a while, my eyes started itching too much and we had to leave nature and wandered about the city. Our friend led us along Mayfair and I just couldn't stop looking at the gorgeous architecture of the area. There's just something about these tall but old light stone buildings with their columns reflecting the wealth of central London. In that centre we dove into, right by Piccadilly Circus, which was said to be the centre of the world back in colonisation times, and looks like the Times Square of London to me. Different dimensions, but still. For dinner we went to Chinatown, just around the corner, signalled by the abundance of traditional red lantern garlands and many other typically Chinese symbols. In one of the restaurants I got some fried noodles with prawns, and after those I tried Peking duck for the first time. You need to put it into rice pancakes with traditional condiments and cucumber. It was really nice. Out on the street we hunted down our dessert, taiyaki, a sweet waffle-like fishies filled with custard, or in my case, Nutella. And then we call it a day. The next day wasn't that warm, so I opted for a turtleneck and once again my embroidered jeans and this red button-up shirt. Since Taylor Swift had her concerts on 3 of the nights that we stayed in the city, I brought some friendship bracelets with me too. Breakfast was calm with the best chai latte I had that week. We were located in Camden Town, that I always wanted to visit for its alternative and second-hand clothing. I almost got a jacket. Still, I loved the colourful and unique row houses and the art that was displayed everywhere. Camden Market itself is a labyrinth-like assortment of little shops and stands in, under and on top of many shipping containers. The downside of this area was definitely the many people that it attracts. Still, we pushed through it to see all the upcycled clothing, alternative jewellery and uncommon patterns. I also had to visit the Cyberdog store because that one is just so different from any other store I've ever been in, with its neon alien rave atmosphere. We also found a graffiti that used the exact same colors as my outfit that day, so naturally we had to take a few pictures. For lunch we had to get away from the crowds a bit because they were exhausting. We found a cute little Greek place where we ate gyros. On our way back to the hotel we stopped at a cupcake stand in our underground station. Since we were 3 people who love sweets, we had to get the box of 12 mini cupcakes from each type they had. At King's Cross there is also a Harry Potter store that we visited. It is truly charming and magical in there. I got something there that you will see in my little haul at the end of the video. After a bit of a reset, I got changed for our evening plans, which was going to the musical Wicked. For that, I wore my dressiest piece, this black and blue jumpsuit. Beforehand, it was dinner time. Near the Apollo Theatre, where the musical takes place, we went for some pad thai. The musical was grand. I think it is the best one in matters of character development and relationship dynamics that I've seen to date. You should definitely check it out. To drag the evening out a little longer, we took a nightly walk through the city, being attracted by every bigger building that was lit up nicely. That's how we found ourselves at St. Paul's Cathedral. We continued along the Thames, from where we could see some of the skyline and the many bridges of London. At the end, we reached the Tower Bridge, looking quite stunning even at night. Finally, we walked over her to get to our tube stations. The weather got hotter and hotter every day, so it was time for my trusty biker shorts, and I also wore out my Eras Tour shirt in public for the first time. There were about 5 instances in which people stopped me to tell me they love it. So rewarding. After a slower breakfast with Nutella and banana-filled pizza dough, we headed off to the National Gallery of London. Even the building itself is a piece of art, which made it difficult at first to focus on the various paintings. My favorite section was the Impressionist era with Claude Monet especially. I recognized some of the works from back in art history class, but you just can see so many more details and the whole aura of a piece in person. They also have the very famous Sunflowers painting by Vincent van Gogh. I also found one that depicts our mountains at home, and I, in a way, took a selfie with this one. If you look closely, you can see that the painter has drawn himself and the viewer in the tiny reflection behind the 2 protagonists. And I love series of paintings that fit together, like these 4 that depict different times of day. And then there was this collection of these partially unfinished ones that evoke a form of adventure spirit in me. These 2 rather big ones were stunning as well and act like opposites to each other. I would hang them in my home if I had that kind of money. Overall, I think I just love paintings of nature and still life. But depictions of cats back in medieval times is just funny to me. Of course, I had to get the Sunflowers tote bag from the museum shop, fitting with my embroidered back pocket of my denim shorts. For lunch, we found an Italian place. I got a pizza that had 8 different types of cheese on it. A dream come true. For dessert, it was time for a pistachio affogato. Later that day, we wanted to visit Canary Wharf since our friend would be working here soon, and I think it's the closest that I've gotten to a true modern big city feeling. Glass skyscrapers reflecting the evening light, in midst of them parks with as much green as they could get into them. We ate takeaway sushi in one of the parks for dinner, and I tried mochis. Sadly, I don't like the texture. The evening with its golden hour was gorgeous, so we ran and took some pictures. To wind down from the day, we chose the Alchemist at Canary Wharf for some drinks. I don't think I've ever had worse service. We waited 45 minutes plus for our drinks, even though there were 3 parties of guests and about 5 workers chatting about. At least we got this stunning view to enjoy in the meantime, and the drinks were a spectacle themselves and quite good. The hottest day yet would be fought with my denim shorts, a sporty tank and this light overshirt against the sun. After a quick breakfast at King's Cross, we headed to Kensington Palace that we got tickets for before our travel. You're actually asked not to film inside the palace, so I can only show you pictures. There was this grand staircase for the king, no bare spaces. Everything was painted with murals and decorated. Even the ceilings were full of art. We were led into the presence chamber with the monarch's throne. The Queen, Mary, on the other hand, lived very very differently. Her staircase was more rustic, simple, with wooden panels. She had direct access to the gardens though, since she loved gardening and growing flowers. She lived here quite privately with her ladies-in-waiting, embroidering and reading the day away, various dog beds all over the ground. I really relate to her. I also learned that keys were a great sign of power as it granted you access. That's why many people are depicted with keys in their portraits. Outside again, we briefly visited Diana's memorial and then made our way to the orangery to experience afternoon tea. We chose red velvet tea. I must say I love the more savory bits and the scones, but I don't really care for the sweets on top. Also, afternoon tea is expensive. For the evening, we had a reservation at Sky Garden, which is on the top floors of one of the skyscrapers overlooking the Thames and a big part of London. Up there, they have once again lush greenery, a bar, an outside platform that closes in the evening, and 2 restaurants. We were up a bit early to enjoy the view, and I once again wore my dressy jumpsuit. The Darwin Brasserie that we chose for dinner is located in this receded glass cube, so you still get all the views of the city. I ate a burger. That one wasn't even that expensive and very tasty. We enjoyed the rest of this cloudless evening down at the Thames, talking about many different things, and I tried to take in the atmosphere that was created by the soft blue, purple, peach sky. I think the blue hour is what suits this city best. That's why my London travel journal will be blue. Stay tuned to see how that one is being created in a future video. The next day we started with packing all our things and leaving it by the hotel reception. We went to do some shopping at Oxford Circus and continued down the Oxford Street. Shopping makes you hungry, so we stopped by a waffle place to get us a treat. That's when we heard and saw some commotion on the street, many policemen, and there was a whole horse parade coming down the street, carrying cannons, so many shiny horses and soldiers in their traditional uniform. It was quite impressive to see. After they've passed, we went to the Hyde Park right next to us to enjoy the waffle and our milkshakes. We walked down to the Wellington Arch in the direction of Buckingham Palace. That's also when we encountered more blockages having to do with that same horse parade. We found them again eventually as they were shooting their cannons in the periphery of Buckingham Palace. It was quite a spectacle that drew in many people to watch it go down. Later, we heard that this happening was to greet the Japanese emperor who just then visited the king. We followed the horse parade down to the doors of Buckingham Palace to see what else would happen. The place was full with horsemen and women. We saw some carriages going in. There also was a brass band playing, and the Barbies were marching about as well. Lovely were also the police on horseback. They had white horses. Through all of this, the horses were followed by their own ambulance. And after the horses left, there were measures taken to clean up the roads instantly. We stopped at Waterstones for a snack croak before wandering in the direction of the Big Ben with our takeaway iced teas. Here is where the fancy hotels are located. We saw the London Eye on the opposite side of the river and made it to the Big Ben as well as the Westminster Abbey. Coincidentally, again, there were police blockages because the king and the Japanese emperor were there also, and that more or less concludes the intentional travel plans of this trip. We took the tube to the airport and I got my traditional fish and chips in a pub there. But then our evening flight got cancelled and we were moved into a hotel near the airport. This was scary since nothing like that ever happened to me before, but you gotta make the best of it, right? So I wore my new Levi denim jacket and at least we were able to eat a nice piece of chocolate cake and finally wash our hair. The next morning we went home over Brussels, which was stressful since we had to run through what felt like the entire airport. But finally we made it back to Switzerland and got some Burger King for the train ride home.
Hi guys! So I'm finally back from my travel to London, even though the whole traveling back story was a bit of an odyssey, with it taking, instead of 5 hours, it took 22 hours. But now in hindsight, I've been back for a few days. I can say the good experiences in the city definitely outweigh the travel experience, if you want to call it that. So my friend has now started her internship, and I'm back at my uni grind. I need to write several papers. I will just show you what I got shopping wise in the city, and then this vlog will be over. So let's go.
We did go into Primark. That is where this beige cap is from. I never really owned a cap before, so I figured it was time to get one now for some sportier looks. I also got this oversized bomber jacket there. This will function as a handy transitioning piece. You've already briefly seen my new Levi denim jacket. Since I outgrew my last one and cut it up to stitch it into a hat, I had to replace it sooner rather than later. At Primark, I also got some thinner scrunchies with animal print on them. What you've been waiting for? I've got this butterbeer opener at the Harry Potter shop, which is also a magnet. Back in Scotland, I loved eating this particular brand of porridge, so I had to bring some home. And here is a whole view of the National Gallery tote bag with the sunflowers of Van Gogh on it. Lovely addition to my growing tote collection. Finally a more colorful one. And now, thank you for watching, and if you want to dream along some more, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!